The Joe Rogan Experience.
So you were talking about Minnesota, and you're talking about being
then I moved
rehab.
here.
Then you moved here.
Yeah, and then I went back east. And then I was in the restaurant industry for a long time. So basically, I was in rehab, and then I left rehab.
When did you start writing?
I always wrote.
You always wrote. Did you always publish things? Like when did you
No,
start
I
doing
didn't know that
articles?
you can get paid to do it.
You were just writing for just a
I
self-expression?
started writing. I mean, my journal. Holy shit! From that first rehab. Have you ever seen that movie Seven?
Yes.
Where he has like, that's what my journal looks like.
Jesus Christ. That movie still
Like,
fucks with
why
my
am
head.
I still single? That movie still fucks with my head.
Yeah.
I saw it in a theater, and I remember driving home thinking I was going to get murdered.
That was Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing that now.
Yeah.
Boy, they
being creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
But one of his most brilliant roles.
Well, American Beauty was another one, creepy as fuck, but one of his most brilliant roles. I think, oh God, I hate saying this.
You think Gwyneth deserved it?
I don't think, I wonder how fucked up you have to be as a human to be able to play someone that fucked up.
I know.
You know what I mean?
To go to that place.
Yeah. I mean, not just to go to that place, but you fucking believed it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, I fucking believed
I haven't seen it yet.
Spoiler alert.
I know. No, it's fine. It's
dark
been
as
2 weeks.
shit.
I know.
Well, I'm not gonna spoiler it, but
It was a dark week for me. I couldn't go see it. I wasn't emotionally strong enough.
It was a dark. You get dark weeks.
Well, just because of some shit that happened that was crazy that triggered all the stuff from that we started this conversation
when you had the conversation
and it was
with
like,
that girl.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was like a crazy. PTSD is real. You know, I hate that the word triggered has been destroyed.
Yeah.
Like it's been destroyed because it does when you have had trauma. And there's a brilliant book, The Body Keeps the Score, and he talks about how it lives in your body basically. And he worked with vets, and you know, it's crazy. Like in this book, I've been rereading it again, and he's talking about how when he was writing to get some from the VA to get like a grant to study PTSD, they were like, no, we don't even really think it wasn't even part of their profile, which is crazy to think now that
PTSD wasn't part of
it. Wasn't even like a thing. It was a brand
shell shock.
It was,
remember?
yeah. My grandpa. I mean, I have all my grandpa's. I should have brought some. All my grandpa's letters from World War II. I mean, that guy. He would be getting bombed, basically getting underway every single day for months, and he's like. The most striking thing to me is how he's like, I don't want to feel sorry for myself. I know nobody would want me to feel any self-pity. I'm like, we live in the biggest pussy generation of the entire... We live in just the whiniest culture. He's literally at war, and he's like, I'd hate to be whining. I'm like,
don't you think that the reason why we have such a whiny culture is because things are so safe relatively?
Yeah, I do, definitely.
Because the people that are complaining, for the most part, the people that are egregiously complaining, they don't have real issues.
It's just so weird. I always see this like, I am fighting for my life. I'm like, no, you're not. You're on fucking your couch getting Postmates. Like, what do you...
With your story, like when you tell your story, like that's one of the stories that like legitimately makes you sit back and go, holy shit. Okay, those stories nobody gets upset at. You know what I'm saying? Because it's I mean, I don't mean they don't get upset that it happened to you. I mean, they don't get upset at you expressing this like it's some horrible, disastrous event in your life, because it clearly is.
Well, yeah. And it is. That's why I hate that the word triggered has been so destroyed, because it is a thing that people have to. And so in this recent, this girl is my hero, and this recent thing that happened, it was like, this person walked into a situation and she looked distraught, and like, long story short, we ended up at a rape trauma center together. And it was,
when you said she walked into a situation,
it's like it's hard to, she gave me permission to like talk about this if it came up. And so I'm okay with it.
Just don't say her name.
No. And I'm not telling her story, no details of hers. So I was in a 12-step meeting, and she kind of walked in and looked distraught. And I'm not one of those girls that's like, hey, welcome. Like, you know, it's not like, leave me the fuck alone.
Right, but you saw.
But I saw the look. This is where I might actually cry. I recognized that look. Like, it wasn't like I'm having a bad day in sobriety. It was like, something happened, and I just made a beeline for her, and I was like, are you okay? And she was like, no, I'm not. And she said, like, something bad happened to me, and we left that there, and then we went out onto a bench, and I was like, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 19, and young, you know, and I was like, she told me what happened, and something bad had happened the night before, and I was like, well, and I told her, I shared with her, I was like, that same thing happened to me at your age, and I was like, and she's like, what? You know, like that look of like relief that somebody could understand. And she's like, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I know what not to do, and it's nothing. So, and I'm telling you, it was like, that girl is so brave. I'm like, what compelled you to even walk into the meeting? I wasn't even going to go to that meeting. And then when we ended up in that center, like the counselor was so amazing. The nurse was so amazing. It was like a warm blanket of love was just wrapped around her. And
was she in sobriety? Like
it was like, I can't, it's like not really my story to tell, but it was she was fucked up. Yeah. So it wasn't like dead sober, but yeah, so it was basically like my story that she was telling. Wow. So it triggered like it was weird to hear my story as she's relaying it, and I'm having like flashbacks. Right. So last week I was like, I haven't really told anyone I'm even gonna like talk to you or anything because my friend was like, so what have you been doing to like get ready? I'm like, well, I've been crying a lot and eating a lot of cake. Like,
to get ready to talk here?
Just like, because they're like, yeah, like it's just Joe in a conversation, but I think people think it's like
Some people it is.
It is.
Well, things get weird with people when there's an event coming.
Yeah. You know? Well, and it was my anniversary of 6 years, which always is like,
when did that happen?
That was Friday.
Oh.
So it was amazing. You know, it was amazingly healing, like, too, to be able to it was one of those moments where there's where something bad that happened to me, I was like, oh, suddenly this has meaning. Like I can use this to help someone else. And that's, I interviewed this really brilliant woman who escaped from like a million things. And her whole thing is like, what good is our freedom if we can't use it to liberate somebody else? And circling back to like the World War II and this generation, Ayan Hershey Ali says that basically this generation is like, they're like trust fund babies with freedom because they're so far removed from having to fight for freedom that they just take it for granted.
That's an interesting way of describing it.
Yeah.
Trust fund babies with freedom.
That's Ayan. She's just brilliant.
Yeah, she is brilliant. That's a great way to look at it too, but it's very hard for people. Without struggle, I think people don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they create problems that don't exist.